Hi, well, I'm starting my PhD now in November in the University of Valencia. Then I'm going to present my main topic for my research. The title of my research is Language Business Connectivities, Virtual Exchange in the Spanish for Business Language Classroom, promoting the target language in real life context. Well, first, I'm going to introduce myself to give you a bit of background information about myself. My name is Marta Fortes, and I'm coordinating Spanish for Business modules in the University of Limerick. The University of Limerick is in the Republic of Ireland. Then, well, before I started working for this university in 2017, 2018, I started teaching. Well, my background is in teaching, but then I study a master in linguistics in this university, in the University of Limerick, and I started teaching, no, Spanish in degrees such as applied languages, European studies. And then in 2018, these new modules were advertised, Spanish for Business modules. Before they had like German for business, French for business, but then the Spanish for business started in around 2019, and I became the coordinator of these modules. Then some of the challenge I faced was, first of all, I was coordinating Spanish for business beginners, and the main challenge was these students, they they had no clue about the Spanish language. Then I was teaching them business vocabulary when they didn't even know the colors in Spanish. And well, with the Spanish for Business Advanced, it wasn't much easier because the books we were using, the vocabulary was quite hard and complex, very specific, related to business. These students, they don't study a second language in primary school. Then they just started their Spanish, studying Spanish in secondary school. Then their level of Spanish will say like it's an A2 level maximum, and we were working with books that's were teaching really complex grammar, like articles related to importing products, very specific vocabulary. And I found like many of the students in advance, they were really confused, they were lost, they were still struggling like using the past verbs, and it was difficult to be honest. And that's how I came up with the idea of doing my research and my PhD in the area of Spanish for specific purposes, focusing on business. And well, the aims of my research is, well, to foster the acquisition of specific 21st century competences such as linguistic, digital, entrepreneurial, the online collaboration, and the use of different technologies in the creation of collaborative products with students from different universities, and also connecting these business students with entrepreneurs from Spanish speaking countries, but also with real life context where they can learn the business language and they can be able to use them, no, in real context. Then, well, here the main approach for not to teach these modules is like a more practical approach, focusing more on the context rather than the structure of language. Also, we have to think that these students, the business students, they are not linguists. They're also they don't learn English the same way that, for example, we learn Spanish. They don't know the name of the verbs. They don't know what an adverb is, and they are more interested in the oral production, no, the communication and the understanding more than the syntax or the grammar. Then, well, the idea is using this practical approach through theories, no, focusing on theories such as constructivism, constructionism, Vygotsky. Then that they are able to construct their own learning, but at the same time, the sharing, no, the process of learning and sharing the end product. Then all these will be conducted through the task-based language teaching, through information exchange, the contrast and analysis of information, and working, no, all these skills in virtual exchange, and this virtual exchange taking place in virtual environments. Then that's how I came across the project Yes Lab. Well, one of my colleagues here in the University of Limerick put me in contact with Doctora Ana Sevilla, and when I knew about the project, I thought that it was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted to research, and a really interesting project, very practical. Then, well, things that we had to adapt for our virtual exchange between the University of Limerick and the University of Valencia was the language. No, in maybe in other virtual exchange, the main language it was English. No, the language that the virtual exchange was conducted was only English, but we had to adapt it and create not only a bicultural but also a bilingual virtual exchange. We gave really clear instructions to the students. Then, for example, in for the asynchronous meetings that are taking place in Schoology, in the platform Schoology, the Irish students write in Spanish, and the Spanish students they write in English. For the synchronous meetings that they are taking place in the virtual platform Spatial, if the meeting is 1 hour long, for example, then 30 minutes have to be through, no, they have to talk in English, and the other 30 minutes they have to talk in Spanish. These haven't created much confusion, but for example, like in the WhatsApp, they created their own WhatsApp groups, no, to arrange the meetings. And here there was a bit of confusion because with the use of two languages in a WhatsApp group, and also the Irish students not having a very high command of the Spanish language. Well, maybe here we could, for future virtual exchange, we could just say, like in the WhatsApp groups, they can talk in their own language. Well, that they can try, of course, as much as they can. They can try to use the target language, the language that they are learning, but maybe to arrange meetings and, and these kind of things, they can use their own language, or they can use just one language. But yeah, with Schoology, it worked very well. I saw you the example of how did we organize this virtual exchange in this learning environment. Then, as you can see, this is the main area where they have all the tasks with instructions. They also have the calendar of tasks. They can access the working groups, no, with the email of their international peers. Then the calendar with the task is here, no, you can open it, and also they have a calendar no, in the platform that tells them when a task is due, no? And they receive a a reminder. But also in each task, you can create forums, conversation forums where they can talk about different topics. But also, if the task requires a more specific work, not just work in their own groups, then you can create different groups, and then they can just work and upload um, work in their own group. Then not all the information is together. But well, beside this, if we go back to spatial, some of the talents we found here, for example, for the Irish students, were to the connection, not the internet connection. They were, some of them, they were not able to access the platform, maybe because they live in rural areas in the countryside, and the idea for future exchange, it will be to try to maybe to be able to schedule, ideally to schedule these meetings in during the class times, and in the university, where all the students can have access to a good internet connection, and also to the use of virtual reality, because we've been working here in Ireland just with the computers. They haven't been able to use the virtual glasses yet, but it's something that I'm aim to improve for the future exchange. And well, I'm gathering information through personal blogs, where the students are writing their reflections, involving the tasks in this virtual exchange, and the use of online questionnaires. And well, just to finish here, well, some potential contributions for the research is the use of virtual environments, in second language teaching, the connecting these business students with real life context where they can practice their business language. Also the opportunity to participate, in virtual environments with students from different countries, but the feeling of sharing the same space, in this collaboration, that is called co-presence. Then I want to research more into this area, how this feeling of co-presence, of sharing the same space, helps the language learning and the creation of collaborative products. And the final aim will be to connect these business students with real companies in Spain. I'm aiming to Spain. Well, it'll be ideal to connect them with companies also in South America. But then here is where I'm going to ask for some advice. I know it is difficult to create these relations between universities and companies, but it will be ideal uh, if I could facilitate maybe some internships for some of my students at the end of their degree. Then, well, thank you very much for your time. This is my bibliography. Please just don't hesitate to contact me if you have any comment or any question. My email is marta.forteside@ul.ie. Thank you very much.